Isn't that a beautiful eyeshadow palette? Today we are going to create a look with the new Sigma Spectrum eyeshadow. Couple things to note about this palette, you guys. One is I absolutely love this palette by Too Faced. It is the Natural Matte. They stopped making this a few years ago, and I don't use it that much because whenever I do, I get comments on my eyeshadow look and you guys ask me what palette I'm using, and I can't tell you that it's not available anymore, but this is what it looks like. It's very, very pretty, really nice earth tone, but a little to the cool side. Absolutely love this palette, but again, they discontinued it. So when this palette arrived in all of its glory, this Sigma palette is an extension of this one. 9 shades, 20 shades. So that's awesome. From a color story perspective, it's very comparable to this one by Too Faced. When it comes to quality, I'll be comparing this $65 palette to Natasha Denona's palettes, which are often $64. Right off the bat, this one is 15 shades versus 20 shades from Sigma. So that's already a win. If you break that $65 down to 20 shadows, that comes out to be about $3.25 per shadow. An e.l.f. shadow is $6. So by comparison, that makes this a value priced palette. However, if you're gonna only use some of the shades in here, then it's probably not a value. But to me, all of the shades in this palette are very usable. They're cool, they're warm, they're neutral in tone, mostly matte with, again, just these shimmers on the bottom. So today we're going to create a simple look. I'm certainly not going to use all of these colors, but I do want to get a sense for how blendable they are, how buildable the coverage is, so we can get an idea of if this is a good palette or not for you. I can tell you guys right off the bat, I love the color story in this palette, but that's right up my alley. I don't typically wear a lot of vibrant, bright eyeshadow shades, so that's why I think this one is gonna be perfect. First thing I wanna do is start with the eyebrows, because as of late, I have liked a softer look to my brows, so I'm just gonna grab a angle brush. If you've got an eyeshadow brush that has a spoolie maybe on one end, the other end of that is typically the right type of a brush if you're using a shadow on your eyebrows. What I'd want to do is spray it a little bit with a setting spray. I'm using the Cosas Cloud Set. This is a face setting spray. I really like this one. I just want to get my brush a little bit damp. Now, because I have a darker root color and I like my brows to be neutral to warm, I'm going to start with mohair and just give my brows a little bit of shape. I'll also incorporate this mohair shadow into my overall look, just for a pulled together consistent look. That's something I've really enjoyed doing. If I'm doing my brows with a shadow, if I can pull that shadow into my eye look as well, just really lightly, it gives a nice consistent pulled together look without being able to tell why it looks pulled together. In terms of the shadow, I mean, this shadow goes on really smooth. I'm curious to see how it goes on the eyelids when I'm mixing it with a couple different colors, but on the brows, it goes on really nice. Now, good reminder for your brows, if you can just put a pencil on the side of your nose, your brows should go all the way to that straight line. Mine are a little bit short, so I like to just cheat a little bit and pull them a little bit closer together to narrow this gap. And with an eyeshadow, that's really easy to do. Now, if you want to get real fancy, you can grab a darker shade. I'm going to grab Camel. It's a little bit warmer. And I'm just going to, every once in a while, add a little bit of warmth to my brows. And yeah, I like that so far. That was easy. Do the other side. A palette like this does allow you to find a shadow for your brows if you are a shadow kind of person. I used to do brow pencils. I have brow pencils that I absolutely love. I've just noticed that as I've had my eye look softer, and by that I mean not as harsh of an eyeliner. So when my eyeliner is more harsh, I like my brows to be a little bit more harsh. And I shouldn't use the word harsh, I should say defined. When I'm not using a real defined eyeliner, but a more smudged out, soft, diffused eyeshadow look, I like my brows to also be a soft, diffused look. It just makes the whole look pulled together. And that's an important thing to take a look at. If you have softened your eye makeup, then you want to soften your brow makeup, and vice versa. If you've gone to a softer brow look, then you want to make your eye look a little softer as well. Now, a couple things when it comes to brows in our more mature skin is you want your brows to not be solid. You want to be able to see some skin through your brows. That's how you can tell it is a more aesthetically pleasing, but a little more professional, more natural look to your brows. When your brows look more solid, that's when it looks fake and can be aging to your face. So you just want to keep your brows pretty soft. That's why I've switched from a pencil to shadow. If you have a spoolie, add some hairspray to that spoolie and brush through your brows, and they will last you all day. I don't know where my spoolie is, but before I start my whole day, yeah, I will spray a little spritzer on my brows. All right, and this is not an eyebrow tutorial, but this is an eyeshadow tutorial. So I'm just gonna quickly give my brows a little bit of a curl, because why not? We need to freshen up the eyes. It was a long night last night. By the way, you guys, many of you have asked about my husband's surgery. He had hand surgery. Thank you so much for all the warm wishes. He's doing great. His follow-up appointment, the doctor said he's doing fantastic. So you guys, your thoughts and prayers are well received and very much appreciated. So thank you very much. All right, next I'm gonna grab a big fluffy brush. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy A503. I'm gonna pick that up on the tip of the brush in this color Papayas. Tap off any excess. And I'm gonna start at that outer corner right in the socket of my eye and just go a little bit up, about halfway. Now, if you've got droopy eyelids, no worries. Put this color on the outside of that droop so that it is visible, and a little bit on the undercarriage of your droop. And we're just gonna softly blend that on both sides. This is gonna be a really easy eyeshadow look, you guys, that even if you don't get this palette, you will be able to create this look with another palette using different eyeshadows. So I'm just gonna softly blend that, again, about halfway, and I'm really focusing on the outside of the crease. I'm not focusing on the eyelid at all. And if you've got droopy eyelids, that's where you want to put it. If you have hooded eyelids, same placement. Try to keep any of this part open, because we're going to add a little bit of lightness here to really give a more bright-eyed open effect to your eyes. Next thing is I'm going to take a small brush about this size. So look for something that is tight and not very wide, because we're going to take that shadow that we used in our eyebrows. And for me, it was this color right here. And I'm gonna put that shadow right on the side of the brush, not on the tip, but on the side of the brush. Now, what you're gonna wanna do is place that tip of the brush right along your lash line at the outer corner, and then pull that up, so that we're depositing the majority of that shadow that was on the side of the brush right on that outer corner. I'm gonna lift it just so you can see exactly where that placement is, just like that. Now we're gonna do the other side. If you guys are enjoying the channel and wanna become a channel ambassador, it's 99 cents for the entire month, so just $12 all year long, and you can cancel anytime. That helps the channel grow, so I really appreciate your support. So again, we're just taking that pencil right in that lash line and pulling it up. Now we're gonna go back to that fluffy brush that we had where we did the crease and just softly blend that darker brown in the crease and slightly above it. But don't go all the way to your brow, because we wanna leave some skin in that area. We don't want that shadow to go all the way to the brow. This is one of the easiest eyeshadow tutorials ever. I talk through it, so it's gonna probably feel like it's long, but it's really not. Next thing is you're gonna wanna take a flat brush. This is an old MAC. This is MAC, gosh, 220. And I'm going to add a little bit of my setting spray. I just like to do that because it gives me some intensity to the color. These colors are coming off the palette very nicely. They're going on very nicely. The color payout is beautiful. You can see that. And it looks like they are easy to blend so far. I'm gonna pick up this color right here. This is a flat bone color. I'm holding my brush at the midway point, and I'm gonna add that bone color at the tip of my brush. And I'm gonna go right under my brow and carve that out on both sides, and then we'll go and blend. Then take that brush and just pull it down slightly so that you're blending that color. So you're adding a little bit of definition to the brow, but not a lot of color. Now you're going to take that same brush, same color, and put the color on the side of the brush. And I'm just going to lightly go along my eyelid, just like that. Go back to your fluffy brush because now we just want to lightly blend that up to your crease. So we've only used 3 brushes and 3 different shades to get this really pretty natural look. And just softly blend that away. Now you can pick up that same brush. Again, this is a MAC 220. Take off any of the powder that you just placed. Spray a little bit more of your setting spray. And I'm gonna pick up Dune on the side of my brush. I'm gonna do both sides because I'm gonna do both eyes. So far, you guys, I really like these shadows. I think they're blending out nicely. Now with this, I'm gonna go right in the center of my eye, just one width of the brush. Almost like a stripe, if you will. I'll do it on both sides. And you're just creating a stripe from your crease down to your lash line. Now that you've got the eyeshadow where you want it, I'm just gonna lightly go in with the side of that brush and blend it. I'm not trying to go all the way out to the corner, and I'm not trying to go all the way into the corner. You want to just soften that glitter as you go towards the corners. Just really lightly with the focus on the roundest part of your eyeball. That's called a halo look. It's a very nice, natural, soft look to the eye and just gives a pop of color and a pop of alertness, brightness, openness to the eyes. All right, so far I'm really enjoying how blendable these eyeshadows are. I like that they have good color payout and I'm not getting any fallout. So next I'm gonna go back to that original brush that we did this outer corner with, and I'm gonna pick up this double espresso right here, and I'm gonna pick that color up on the very tip of my brush, tap any excess off, and I'm gonna go in the outer corner of my eye and just lightly blur my lash line on the lower lashes, and I'm gonna go just where my lashes stop. We'll do that on both sides. Now I'm gonna repeat that process with that eyeshadow on the brush. That double espresso has a little bit of a purple shadow to it. So if you've got green eyes or hazel eyes, this will really help that green pop. And I'm just gonna go along the lash line just to give some depth or some volume, if you will, to my root of my lashes. And I'm going to go all the way across, but I'm really trying to stay very close to my lash line. I'm not trying to give the illusion of an eyeliner, although you could, because these shadows blend out so pretty, but I'm not wanting to do that. I'm really just wanting to give a little bit of volume to my lashes because I usually do an eyeliner look, and I have lately been trying to not do such an eyeliner look, which is really hard for me, and do more of a natural lash look. But as I've gotten older, my lashes are spaced out quite a bit, so I need to give the appearance of volume at the root of the lashes, and that requires some faking it. Or some, let me rephrase that. That requires some creative artistry, and I'm fine with it. I have become quite an artist in my older age, out of necessity, and I'm okay with it because makeup is such a fun form of self-expression that I don't apologize for wearing makeup. See how simple that is? You guys, this palette's so versatile that you could really create a lot of pretty, in fact, I'm gonna swatch these because these shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. This is the one that we used right here in the halo, but look at that gold color. That's Tiger's Eye. This one's called Spice Peaches. What I love about these is they're not super glittery. That's Spiced Peaches. There's Honeysuckle. And this one here is called Clairvoyant. I can see a lot of reasons to use that one as well. I better stop though, or else who knows. There's Clairvoyant. I could keep going and building these because they do blend out really nicely. But I think the idea of this is I'm glad that there's finally a palette that I can recommend you guys besides this Too Faced Natural Matte. And this was only 9 shades. And as I'm looking at this, there definitely are some cooler tones as well as some warm tones. So if you're like me and you like to go more neutral to cool on your eyeshadows, but every once in a while an outfit or a look that you're putting together might call for a warmer look, you've got those with this top row and then maybe some of these browns. This double espresso is really pretty as an eyeliner. So overall, I think it's a very nice palette. I'm just using Fireworks by Maybelline as a mascara. It's a very pretty palette. I will use this over and over and over again. So if you are looking for an eyeshadow palette that's very versatile, has neutral as well as cool and warm tones to it, and you can create a lot of different looks with, I think you'll be happy with it. Not to mention the fact that 15 of the shades are matte. And for my more mature skin, I just find that matte is more flattering on the eyelid because I definitely have wrinkles on my eyelids, and I don't find that the shimmer in this eyeshadow palette highlighted those wrinkles that I have on my eyelids, which is great. And I love the way the eyebrows turned out also using that lighter eyeshadow color. And when you use that technique of taking a brush just about the width of your fingernail and starting at your lash line in that outer corner and pulling that dark up like we did, which was one of the first steps that we did, it really just gives a natural curvature to your eye. And we all have that because our eyeball is a ball. It's round on the sides. So you want those sides to be a little bit darker, but not too much or else it looks like your eyes are really sunk into your head. And I don't know about you guys, but as I've gotten older, things already are starting to look sunk in, and I don't want that to be the case. So there you go, super easy look. Really like this palette, and I will be doing a lot more looks with it with the days coming up. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick tutorial. More importantly, I hope you give it a try. And if so, let me know in the comments down below that you've tried it and what you think about it. And if you already have this palette and you are creating looks with it, then be sure to tag me on social media so I can see your creative work as well. I love learning from you guys. Well, that does it for me today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in just a couple days. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.